Welcome to Meet the Boss TV. I'm Anna Gilligan. In this program, you'll meet two men who beat the odds by transitioning the iconic Sports Illustrated magazine onto a digital platform and making a healthy profit in the process.
If you're not there and you're not offering it, you're dead.
Other magazines have attempted to transition to digital with less than impressive results. So what has Sports Illustrated done differently to come out on top?
Well, we were first. First was good. The first gave us the shock of the new.
My name is Terry McDonald. I'm the editor of Sports Illustrated, and here's your new issue. We hope you like the cover.
By the time the field was getting crowded, mistakes were being made over and over again. We were fortunate to have made those mistakes at a time when everyone was a lot more forgiving, I think. And I think that was useful.
Yeah, absolutely. And it made the marketers feel that, and know actually, that Sports Illustrated was an innovative sports media company that was pushing ahead to that next place, and we had no fear.
It seemed like almost anything that we could imagine, we could actually have a serious conversation with people about whether or not we could build it. That lifted all of us, everybody. We passed that around, all the magazines at Time Inc. They all jumped into it. They were interested in it. But specifically at SI, everybody, basically carved out new jobs for themselves, and it got fast and fun, and we started inviting everybody at IT to our parties, and they acted like they'd never been invited to a party before. So they all showed up, and then pretty soon we had them going, "Psst, what about this?" And they're coming forward with stuff, and so we had a real hot sort of hot unit, and we haven't cooled off much.
So your initial success was because you were first, but how did you maintain that success?
Quality. I mean, we have never, the harshest thing anyone has ever said about our editions across all of our digital media is that they cost too much. No one has ever said, this is not a great product, this is not SI, or I don't want this. They've only said this costs too much.
What about the idea that readers don't want to pay for content anymore on the web?
They've already stopped. Now they're coming back. They stopped a long time ago. They said, no, that's the complaint echoing, across, all the digital canyons from like 4 years ago, maybe up to about a year ago, when it turned out that differentiation was valuable and people would pay for what they wanted, and they would pay for what they wanted in a way that gave it to them so that it was practical. They could have it wherever they wanted. That's the whole basis of our all access idea. But they don't. There's too much crap. Content is another word for too much crap. So if you can break through that and not have content, but have something good, people will pay for it.
Yeah, at Sports Illustrated, we hate calling it content.
What do you call it?
It's just
Crap.
deeper than that. It's deeper than that. It's engaging, writing. It's about writing. It's about photography. It's about journalism and that story that no one else has. That's what it is. Content's like what everybody has. We have something that's more engaging to fans and that differentiates us from everyone else.
Mark Ford has had a long and impressive career at Time Inc., so successful that he was named to Business Week's 2008 list of the most influential people in sports business. So what's behind his golden touch?
What I know about turning around businesses is that you have to create a vision. You have to create a vision that people believe in. You can't dictate it. You have to find willing followership, I always call it. The businesses I ran, the two businesses prior to coming to Sports Illustrated, were complete turnarounds and businesses in crisis. And I learned a lot from that. And then working with Terry, who was all up for changing Sports Illustrated and the culture that was, it was still rooted in its soul, and that was about great editorial. But the business side had kind of become stuck. And so we had to develop a vision for the business. I remember the first speech I gave with Terry talking about where we were headed, that we were about a sports business company first and foremost, not a publishing magazine company.
So what's different about your business approach, about your philosophy?
Here it's because he's an entrepreneur in a very traditional vertical corporation.
Yeah, I look back and I think, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, but what Time Warner allowed me to do was work on lots of different brands. And then when we started acquiring things, no one else wanted to run them because they looked like they might be a failure. And so I love doing that. I like doing things that are different, that put us on the edge where maybe if we don't make it work, the business does fail. And I just truly believe that we can change anything. You just have to think about things differently, and you've got to get people behind you to believe in that.
Where do you believe many businesses go wrong when using social media in an effort to expand?
I don't think anybody really knows that yet. We have some big-time social media people at Sports Illustrated.
Hi, Peter King with Sports Illustrated from Patriots Training Camp, Foxborough, Massachusetts.
All that stuff works for us, but I think it's an orchestra now coming together, and we'll see. I'm not sure exactly how we get the money from all that, but
I think I think where we're at now is you have to be authentic and believable, and the people that are in these communities, you can't market to them, and you have to be very careful. We don't even use that language. It's about building an authentic community and an audience that's true to the brand, and then through that, opportunities will come up down the road, and depending on who that community is and how they interact with our brand, and we're still learning about that. It would be a big mistake to try to monetize that, as they say, too quickly.
It's not a community. To be really successful, it has to move beyond community. It has to be tribal. You're building a tribe. So if you're in that tribe, you join that tribe. You want all the tribe stuff.
Terry was in motorcycle gangs up in Northern California, you can tell, and it was very tribal.
Yeah.
We both love motorcycles.
Terry once said that his design team would likely describe him as having a twisted notion that he's an art director because of his strong vision about how Sports Illustrated should look and feel. But with the magazine's expansion onto different platforms, how does he ensure SI's integrity remains intact?
It's the people that you work with. To have strong colleagues to make that work. When I say that about wanting to be a designer or an art director, it's because I admire that work so much, and I admire it when it is fine and nuanced. And I do not believe that someone is sitting out there somewhere looking at the magazine and their cell phone and the tablet, and they're saying, "Boy, that Terry McDonald is a hell of a designer." But I believe
I do every day.
What I believe is that they have the feeling that they're in good hands, and if they trust you because of the way it looks and progresses and the functionality that makes them feel, then you are successful.
So you're both obviously very innovative, but not all ideas work. Can you give me an example of some ideas, strategies, products you came up with that didn't work and you could say, don't even bother with this?
Yeah, sure. I'll make a parallel for you. It's like, okay, you hear about the Swiss Army knife, right? And it's got a saw on it, right? But you're never going to use that saw on that Swiss Army knife.
But it's cool.
But it's cool, so you put that saw on the Swiss Army knife. So we're thinking about that for when we first made our iPad application. We put some saws on there, but it was all vanity. We were basically showing off and flexing our muscles because we could, but you know, when you broke it down into what was functional and what was accepted and wanted by the users, that saw, they're not using that saw that often.
I always say my test is if you can't explain it in quickly and simply, there's probably something wrong with it. I mean, you know, great ideas, if they're too complicated, no one's gonna use it. They won't understand it. You've got to really get it down. Somebody's got to explain it in a very clear, simple, quick way. And you know, we try not to fail, but we're not afraid to push forward. And when we fail, we just move on. That's why I don't remember any
Real
of the failure.
fast, very fast.
Yeah, and
fast.
act like it never happened.
Yeah, celebrate it.
So for most people, when you say Sports Illustrated, they think swimsuit issue. So besides the obvious answer that beautiful women sell magazines, what's the business principle behind why it's been successful for so long?
What's great about the swimsuit, beyond the obvious, is that it's the first truly multi-platform content play. Sorry about content, whatever.
Works there.
It works there. It's the first multi-platform program that was built from an editorial standpoint, probably in the world of publishing. I mean, we were doing things with smartphones and through experiential marketing events long before traditional publishers or any publisher was just, they were doing magazine and, you know, what was it called back then? It wasn't even added value. It was merchandising, you know. We never, you know, it's like merchandising. We're not giving coffee mugs. We're pushing our brand out. And sports was one part of it, but swimsuit was like the pilot to push us out to do various integrated multi-platform programs that were global in nature.
There have been significant layoffs at Time Inc. in the past several years. How do you keep morale up of your people throughout this difficult time?
What we did was try to innovate our way through it. We tried to do more new stuff. We kept pushing to build new things that would be successful, that would stop layoffs in the future.
You know, every business has learned to do more with less. And, you know, we've, you know, as painful as it was and all the change that we went through, you know, we got, you know, our very senior people deep in the weeds on creating content and selling advertising. And, you know, I mean, I do, you know, I don't just sit in my office here and, you know, bark out orders. I'm out in the field and I'm meeting with advertisers and I'm using my position to help, you know, lead by example and help move the business forward and be a model of what I expect from the other people on the team. And so I think Terry's spot on. We asked for more during those times, not because, you know, okay, you've got to do this work that, you know, no one else wanted to do and that person's gone and now you have to do it. No, it's like, no, we need you engaged so you can help us drive the business forward, and it creates a cause.
Walking out here, it occurred to me that I might be the oldest person in the room. But this is fine with me. In my business, still standing is a very good thing.
Terry, how has your leadership style changed over the course of your career based on what you've learned as you went along?
I try to let people find out things about me now instead of telling them things about me. It's just a lot easier, and it's not, what's the most unattractive thing you can possibly find in anyone in a job like mine? It's like arrogance. So you know, and that arrogance like recedes like a tide with the lack of the word I or what I did or me or all that stuff.
And how about you, Mark? How has your leadership style changed?
I'm just not as edgy as I used to be in terms of impatient. And
Well, we're in a moment, so it would not be unusual to see Mark, you know, maybe riding his Harley through the landscape of Sports Illustrated morale looking for fires to dump a little gasoline on. Because you know what? They like that.
It's exciting for them.
Yeah, like it hot.
is. But I smile when I'm
Yeah.
doing it versus maybe looking too serious.
You two seem to have such good chemistry that you're completing each other's sentences. So Terry, what strengths does Mark have that he fills in for you and your management style, and vice versa?
I'm actually a more relentless salesperson than Mark is.
Yes, and I actually have a sense of design that is really deep and thoughtful. Yeah, I don't. Mine isn't twisted. It's insightful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nuanced,
Yeah.
very careful.
Yes.
For more fantastic interviews directly related to your business, be sure to explore Meet the Boss TV.